Hi friends, it's Miss Marcie. It's great to see you guys again. So for science today, I thought that we would do a little kitchen chemistry in order to make some fun art projects for you guys to work with during these days. So we're gonna be doing chemistry, science of course, mixing different chemicals. But this time we're gonna make some cool art supplies that you can go outside and use or you can use in your house. And we're gonna make them using things that you can find around the kitchen. So the first thing that we're gonna start with is we're gonna make some chalk paint. Now, I know a lot of you have sidewalk chalk and it's so much fun, but it gets used up so quickly. And I went to look for some sidewalk chalk the other day and I could not find any in the stores or online. I had to actually order some from eBay, and then we used it one afternoon. It was all used up. So I thought, maybe we can make some of our own in an easy, fun way. And then we don't have to find it in any of the stores. So I looked up a recipe. Here goes. To make chalk paint, you're just gonna need cornstarch. Cornstarch is easy to find in the supermarkets. A lot easier than yeast. Sorry about last week, parents. And you might even have some in your house already. Cornstarch is usually used when you cook. It thickens things up. So, in our chemistry experiment today, we will use it to create a thick liquid so that we can paint with it. And the other thing you're gonna need is water, right? Water is another liquid. We're gonna take the liquid water, mix it with the solid cornstarch, and we're gonna get a very unusual substance. That's going to be our chalk paint. Okay, so the important thing to remember for chalk paint is that however much you use of the cornstarch, the amount of the cornstarch you use has to be equal or the same as the amount of the water you use. So it doesn't matter if you use 1 cup of cornstarch or 3 cups of cornstarch, as long as you use 1 cup of water when you use 1 cup of cornstarch, and you use 3 cups of water when you use 3 cups of cornstarch. So today I'm just gonna start with 1/2 cup of cornstarch. I got a measuring cup right here. I already measured a little bit in there, but I'm gonna pour some more in. This is a quarter cup measure. Ooh, poured a little too much. All right, so we've got a 1/4 cup, and I'm gonna take that 1/4 cup and I'm gonna pour it into my bowl. And this is just a white powdery substance. You can taste it if you want. It doesn't taste very good, and too much of it would give you a tummy ache, but there's nothing wrong with giving a little try. It's in a lot of the foods that we eat. And of course it's made from corn. You can see the picture of the corn on the label. And let's see, we're gonna get another 1/4 cup out of here. Perfect. And pour it in my bowl. Now I need to go to my sink and I need to get some water, okay? So I'm just walking right over here to the sink. You can still hear me. I'm filling up 1/4 cup of water, pouring it in the bowl, and then I'm gonna get another 1/4 cup of the water. Hi, I'm back. Another 1/4 cup of water and pour it in the bowl. So I used 1/2 cup of cornstarch. 2 1/4 cups makes 1/2. And I used 2 1/4 cups of water to make 1/2 cup of water. Now I've got it in my bowl. Let's see if you can see what it looks like. There we go. Got some clumps of cornstarch there. And we're gonna start mixing it. And you'll see when you start mixing it, oh, it's a little bit of hard work. It becomes very viscous, very thick. And you're mixing the cornstarch, which is a solid, into the the cornstarch, which is a solid, into the water, which is the liquid, to create this paint. Now, if I look at mine and it feels a little bit too liquidy, guess what I can do? See, I don't like the consistency. I don't like the way mine looks right now. So I might need a little bit more cornstarch, and that's very easy to do. Sometimes we just measure off a little bit and we just need to add it. It's very easy to fix. So I just poured in a little extra cornstarch, and I'm gonna mix that up. And I could have made a mistake. I could have put in too much cornstarch, and I may need to put some water in. I don't think so, though. I think I'm getting a pretty good consistency here. Now, there's one other ingredient I didn't tell you about. White chalk paint is fun. And of course, if you don't have any food coloring in the house, you can use this white chalk paint, no problem. But what would make this a little more fun was if we had some food coloring. So in a minute, oops, I just had a little spill there. My phone is there, of course. Okay, I'm just not thrilled with my consistency yet, so I'm adding a little more cornstarch. And then what I went and got is a little muffin tin, because that's a sort of neat way to keep your chalk paint organized, and it gives you a chance to make some different colors with it. All right, I think I have a pretty good consistency of chalk paint. It's a little bit thicker than water and not too dribbly. It's got a good, thick, viscous texture to it. So what I'm gonna do, because I want a lot of colors of chalk paint, is I'm gonna pour a little bit into each one of my muffin tins before I add my food coloring. First time I did this, I just added my food coloring to the bowl, but then I was stuck with one color, and that was kind of boring. So I now have my trusty bag of food coloring, and I am going to add a couple drops into each one. So I'm going to use some yellow and some pink, and don't worry, I'm going to mix it up in a minute and show you what we've got. Got some green, doesn't matter what color, and you don't need a lot of food coloring at all. And if you don't have any food coloring, that's fine too. White chalk is perfect. Okay, maybe running out of colors here. Just a drop or two, you don't need too much. It comes out so quickly that sometimes you can't even control it. All right, I'm gonna get a spoon right now. Got one right here. And I'm gonna stir up each one of my muffin tins. Oops, I'm accidentally mixing some colors when I stir. If you want your colors to be true, you do not want to use the same spoon. You may need to use several different spoons so you don't mix your colors, but that's okay. Oh my goodness, I gotta show you how great these look now. Can you see that? Hold on. Oh, there's some red, some pink. I don't know if I can get on top of all of them. Oh, there they are. Look at that. Pretty cool, huh? They look gorgeous. These are nicer than the chalk colors that I find when we buy them at the store. All right, sorry. Just getting our screen back up. All right, so now the fun part comes. You need to get a brush, okay? Make sure it's clean. Any size will do. I have a thicker brush here and a thinner brush here. And then we're gonna do some chalk painting. Now, the best place to do this, if you had a chalkboard, that would work nicely. Make sure, however, that this can be kind of drippy, like a solid piece of chalk isn't gonna drip onto the floor, but this could drip. So if you are using a chalkboard inside, maybe place a trash bag in front of it in case you get any drips. But the best place to do this is outside on the driveway. And I got to do that with my children a couple days ago. See if I can find you a picture. We made this when we ran out of our own chalk. And here is a picture. Oh, I don't know if you can see it very well. Let's see if I can make it a little bigger. That's our little tray. It was pink, had a little tray of it. And then in the next picture, you'll see we wrote some words with it. We wrote hi, and we wrote my daughter's name, Aubrey. And that we did outside on my driveway. And that was super fun. It dried really quickly in the sunshine, and it stayed until we had a rainstorm, and then the rain washed it away. But what I'm gonna do now is I have a little chalkboard in my house, so I'm gonna see if I can bring you over there with me without spilling any of our chalk paint and do some writing over there. I'll be right back. Hi everybody, it's Miss Marcie. I decided to go outside to do my chalk painting since it's such a beautiful morning out. Oh, that's my car. So I wanted you to see what I did. Look at that. I wrote some letters. I made some flowers, the sunshine, a heart, a rainbow, a little house. And I brought out a cup of water so that I could clean my brushes. There it is. Cup of water to clean my brushes. And my tray of chalk paints in my muffin tin. And I could now paint my entire driveway. I don't have the best driveway for painting because it's not very smooth, but it still even worked. And I bet if you guys have more smooth areas to paint, maybe a sidewalk in front of your house, you could write, ooh, I got chalk on my face. You could write messages to people who are going by on their daily walks. So remember, you don't need to have sidewalk chalk when you can make your own chalk paint from cornstarch and water. It is definitely a science experiment because even though all the recipes say that it should be a 1-to-1 ratio, 1 cup of cornstarch, 1 cup of water, half a cup of cornstarch, half a cup of water, I still have found that it does take some of your own mixing and feeling what feels right about the consistency. So don't be afraid to add a little more water if it's too thick, or a little less water, or a little more cornstarch if it's too liquidy, because it's too hard to take the water out. But I have done that too. You can pour a little of the water off the top. So, and then just keep mixing it up. And when you're painting with it, remember to use a different brush or to clean your brush each time. But each time you clean your brush in the water, you're introducing more water, so you may thin out your paint, your chalk paint. But it does dry very nicely, and it will stay until the next rainstorm. I'm going to come back in a little while with some more kitchen chemistry art experiments, but I also wanted to show you our caterpillars. Oh, do you remember how small they were last week? Look at them now. They are huge. They have been eating and eating and eating, and now they have moved their way. This one guy is still working on it, but these guys have moved their way to the top of the cup, where they are starting. One is already hanging in sort of a J-shaped form, like the JCC. And they are going to be putting a chrysalis around themselves. And so they're going to be encased in this silky material that they create on their own, and they are going to create a little, it's not technically a cocoon, it's called a chrysalis. Cocoons are for moths, and these are not going to be moths, these are going to be butterflies, monarch butterflies, but they're going to wrap themselves in this chrysalis, and they're going to stay there for a couple of weeks. Now, once they're all in the chrysalis, I will probably take them out of here because the very top of the container has a piece of paper almost that they really actually attach to, and I will take that piece of paper and I will move it into their butterfly habitat, into their big netted area, so that when they do emerge from their chrysalis as butterflies, they will already be in their homes and they will be safe, and they can continue their life cycle. So I just wanted you to see, we don't truly have a chrysalis yet because they have not encased themselves in that silken material, but this guy is definitely the closest because he's attached himself to the top and he's making that J shape, which is the shape he will be in the chrysalis, where I think they'll stay about 2 weeks. This guy, a couple of these guys are up at the top. I don't know if they're guys or girls, I'm sorry. But they haven't started their J formation yet. So I just wanted to update you guys on that, and I'll be back in a little while to show you some more fun kitchen chemistry art project type things you can do. Hi everyone, I'm back. Some pretty exciting things have happened overnight. I woke up this morning and I went to look at our caterpillars again. And remember, yesterday just one of them was hanging in that J shape. Sorry, I don't know which way you're seeing the J. Maybe this way. Well, now all 5 of them are turning into chrysalids. They are shedding their their outside skeleton, and they are turning into, this one was the one that had hung up yesterday, and so he's already nice and hard. He's got a hard protective shell. I'm gonna leave them in here a few more days till they all get this hard protective shell around them. And actually the reason they do that is that their insides actually liquefy. They turn into a liquid before they are able to turn into our beautiful painted lady butterflies. I think I may have called them monarchs before and I made an error. They are painted lady butterflies. So they look awesome. They're shaking just a little bit, working hard, growing, and changing, going through what's called a metamorphosis, or a change. And then what I'm going to do, I'll show you their habitat. This is going to be their habitat. Once they're all properly encased in that harder outer chrysalis shell, I will open up the cup and I will get like maybe a big stick in here, and I will very carefully pin the paper that they're attached to at the top of the cup into the little bit of netting here. And then I will be able to let them stay in here for about 7 to 10 days. So I'm not sure if next week we will have caterpillars, next time we have science, maybe a few days after that, but I promise I will film everything to show you. And then we'll have our painted lady butterflies in there, and I'm gonna add some food for them, and we'll talk about that soon, what we can do. And they'll stay in here for a few days, and then we'll release them into the wild so they can pollinate some wonderful flowers for us. Okay, so now I have a few more recipes, a little more kitchen chemistry, things that we can use to make some fun art activities for ourselves. So a way to use science to make art. So the first thing I wanted to make is that really cool moon sand. I don't know if you've seen it before, but it's squishy. It's kind of like the kinetic sand, but it's nice and squishy. It feels great and soft on your hands, and it's able to kind of stick and clump together so you can make little types of sand castles with it. It's lots of fun, and it's super easy to make. All you need is some flour, okay? And the recipe actually called for 8 cups of flour. I'm just using 4 cups for today. I cut the recipe in half. So I've got 4 cups of flour. I got 3 in the bowl already, and I'm gonna add my 4th cup of flour. And then the other item that you need is baby oil. Any generic brand will do. And so the 8 cups of flour call for 1 cup of baby oil. I did 4 cups of flour, so I'm gonna add in half of a cup of baby oil into my bowl of flour. And then I'm going to mix it up. You can mix it with, a spoon or a whisk, but I'm gonna try it with a little hand mixer now and see how it goes. It's gonna be really loud, so I'm gonna put it on pause, and then I'll show you what we got when I get back. Okay, I'm back. And it only took like maybe a minute to mix it all up with a hand mixer. That was pretty neat. And as you will see, I have some awesome moon dough or moon sand. It clumps together nicely. It breaks apart. Let's see if I can play with it while you can see the bowl. It'll clump together really nicely, and it'll also break apart, and you can build with it, and it has a nice soft consistency. If you have like a Rubbermaid tub to pour it into to play with, that would give you a lot more space than playing with it in the bowl. You could even experiment, and if you wanted to see what it would look like if you added some food coloring, you could try that. You can build with it. Tried to make a little snowman for you here. Wait, his head just fell off. Okay, there you go. And the nice thing is you can put it in a Ziploc bag and it'll last for a couple weeks. And it's just a great sensory, tactile thing to do. You also may choose to do it outdoors because it can get a little bit messy as it is flour. And of course, this is not for eating because the baby oil in there would be very yucky. But this is a lot of fun to play with. It feels really nice on your hands, and it allows you to sculpt and build and be creative and have some fun. So that was one recipe. I've got one more for you. Let me just prepare for that. Be right back. Okay, so our final mixing chemistry experiment that will lead, hopefully, to some really cool type of Play-Doh, a silky smooth Play-Doh. For this, we're bringing back our cornstarch, and we're also going to use some hair conditioner. Don't use your good fancy stuff, just, whatever inexpensive hair conditioner you might have lying around. The recipe on this is a little iffy. It says you can take 1 cup of hair conditioner to 2 to 3 cups of the cornstarch. So I am a little short on hair conditioner right now, so I'm doing half a cup of hair conditioner to 1 cup of cornstarch. It's suggested that you may end up needing more cornstarch as you go, so that's fine. So I've dumped in a cup of cornstarch, and I'm going to put in my hair conditioner. And we can also throw in some food coloring because it's much more fun to have Play-Doh that has some colors in it. So I just have a few drops of blue food coloring. And I'm going to start mixing that up and seeing what kind of consistency I get. And then based on its consistency, we'll see what we may need to add more of. Well, so far my food coloring did not look very good. So I'm thinking what I would do next time is probably add the food coloring to the conditioner and then mix that in, because when I added it directly to the cornstarch and conditioner mixture, as you can see, it's not so blue. But let's see, I'm gonna keep stirring that, and once it's all mixed in, I'm gonna feel it with my hands, and I mean, it feels great, but it's a little bit sticky, right? You don't want your Play-Doh to be too sticky. So I think in order to combat some of that stickiness, we will add some more cornstarch to the mix. So let me just get a little bit more cornstarch. And as I said, this is a little bit of a guessing game. Add a little bit, mix it up, see if you need to add more. So I'm adding that in. And ultimately, you'll end up with some great Play-Doh. Store it in a Ziploc bag. It should last at least a week. And it's just a different alternative in case you have Play-Doh at home and you've run out of, it's gotten dried up and you need a fresh batch. There are so many. Okay, beautiful. Dun, 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 So now we